All right. So today's class is going to be on browser storage. Okay. So basically, so why do we use browser storage? First thing, all your requests in HTTP is stateless. When I say stateless, one request is totally exclusive of another request. So everything you see in one request, when you refresh the page, nothing will be stored in your browser. It will be cleared on the next refresh. Everything will be downloaded fresh from the website. So your browser doesn't store anything by default. Okay, they might cache some images and resources, but that is totally out of topic for now. We will discuss that later about browser cache and stuff. But so what we are talking about here is like we as a developers intentionally we are trying to store some data in the client's browser, because whenever you develop a website and host it somewhere, some of your customers are going to type that website name like google.com and then hit enter. Everybody can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when they hit enter, they reach your website. Let's say google.com is your website. You have developed google.com. Okay. Today, we can be the owner of google.com. Okay. Now, so when you go to the google.com, every time I refresh the page, so it's getting the data from the server. Of course, I can disconnect the internet and show you it doesn't work. Yes, the call will cut off. So the browser will download the web page and then keep it in your local the HTML and then show it to you. Otherwise, if I'm typing something here like this and I'm hitting refresh, this data is gone because this is a temporary data and Google is not storing it here. At the same time, if I hit enter, and then you can see something called queues equal to SSS. This is also kind of storage. I haven't mentioned it here. Maybe we can also mention that here. This is also a potential storage option. So give me a second. Am I not able to? Okay. Maybe we'll add it to the bottom. So we'll call it query string. And this is URL based storage. Okay. So this is a So this is a URL based storage. And how does it look like? It looks something like this. So in this case, I just searched a random rubbish. We can search for something like what is it? JavaScript. And you can see the query string says JavaScript. I can remove everything. This is the exact detail we are looking for. If I hit enter, you can see the same result here. Okay. So you can keep on adding to it. Just you put and then you can add some more parameters as well. That is what you have seen here. So for the first q is equal to JavaScript, and then they put an ampersand. We call it ampersand, and then another key, another value, and ampersand, another key, another value. So it works something like this. So we can take this part alone as an example, and I give it here. I believe I have already given this URL to you folks, right? So that you can view this later. Okay, so it looks something like this. So this is also a type of storage where I can directly share this URL to someone. So let's say I'm copying it and then opening a new browser window and then pasting it here, I see the same result here. So which means this is a way of persisting data as well. Persisting means yes, you can call it as saving, or you can call it like uh, storing the data somewhere, something like that. So this is a URL based storage. This is one kind of storage. Okay. So how does websites access this? So JavaScript will provide you option to access this. So what you can do is like you can open your browser console. You can do I believe it's navigation API, navigation dot or you can directly use the location. Yeah. So you can do location dot path name. So this will give you /search, which is what I think. Then location dot. I don't remember exactly. Let's see. Location dot search. So location dot search. This will give you all the query parameters. So you can see. So this is how the browser access this. Then it can split this query string accordingly. You can need to use some string manipulation methods and then split it accordingly. Based on that, you can access these query strings. Okay. This is one way, and there are few other storages as well. One of them is cookies. Most probably you might have heard of cookies. Whenever I go to a website, it will ask you like, I'm going to save some information in your browser. Is it okay with you? Have any of you seen that? If raise your hands if you have seen that in any of the websites, or give a thumbs down if you have not seen whether you have been like asked to save cookies in a website or not. No? Okay. Sarand, you have seen cookies. You know what is a cookie. So anyway, what is a cookie? Quickly. Come on, guys. Today's class is short. So
It will store the
yes, Arvind.
it will show the small data like login details and that supporting the method.
Correct. So cookies will be used to store your login information so that you don't need to enter it again. That is one of the use case. And another use case is let me minimize this thing. Yeah. So another use case is like you can store any tracking related information. The website will websites can track you based on like your browsing pattern and all those stuff, and show advertisements based on this. So we can discuss how cookie does that someday, but for now you can think of it like you can store some small amount of information. Cookies are like they can store only 4 KB, around 4 KB amount of information. Like we can mention that as well here. Give me a second. Yeah. Storage size is going to be 4 KB. Yeah. So cookies can store up to 4 KB. And how do you set a cookie? You say document.cookie equal to username maybe. I will copy this. We will go back to our browser console. I will say document.cookie is equal to username is equal to John Doe. Now, how do I get this? You take this equal to sign, just say document.cookie. You will get all the cookies in the browser, including what you have set as well. Somewhere here, you should see what we have set. You can see here, right? So then what you can do is like same ways, you can use some string manipulation methods. In this case, let's say we can split with comma, and then you can see all the cookies here. Okay, there are some other comma as well. I believe not comma, semicolon. Okay, you can do. It's not as simple as that. Sometimes the cookie itself has semicolon, so that will uh, give some wrong data. But for now, a simple document.split string split will give you all the cookies. So this is the key and this is the value, and that's how you store the cookies and store and retrieve the cookies. Okay. So one more thing with cookies is like you have something called expiration time. So once you provide this expiration time, let's say in this case it's called max age. I believe it is in milliseconds, but I'm not sure. And there are few other parameters as well. When I say secure, the cookie will work only in HTTPS websites. The difference between HTTP and HTTPS websites is like the HTTPS version is encrypted. Whatever you send through the internet, it will be encrypted. The HTTP version will be in a plain text. That is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. Okay. So when you say secure, if even if you try to set a cookie, it will the cookie will be set only if the site is from HTTPS. So one important thing with cookies is like cookies can set from server side as well. So from the server side, you can set the cookie as headers. In the initial class, we have spoke about headers like request headers, response headers, and all those stuff, right? So these cookies can be set from the headers. If I refresh this page, go to the network tab, and then go to all, and then we search for Google or any other page, any page. If you see the response or response headers, somewhere you should see cookies. So these are all the headers. Okay. So maybe, I don't know. Yeah, here you can see set cookie, right? So this is from the server. The server is saying set this cookie, and the path is this particular path for this. And the cookie expires on Monday 10 November 2025. So after this cookie will be invalid. This cookie won't be shown to you at all. Okay. So these are all the parameters of cookies. And where can I see these cookies when stored in the cookie? You go to application tab and then go to this cookies. And then you can see here, right? These are the cookies. The cookies are based on domains. So for this particular domain, we have these list of cookies and all these cookies. Okay. So here you can see all these extra parameters given by the cookie. One is the expires, the path, and the size of the cookie. I think 62 bytes it is. So all these things are bytes because the size of the cookie is just 4 bytes. When we say HTTP only, it can be sent from the server alone. Like I said, cookies can be set from server as well as the client. When I say client, it is the browser. So when the cookies, when we say HTTP only, and the server sets the cookie like this, in client side, it cannot be modified. Okay, it can the JavaScript cannot modify the cookie. So the reason for this, yesterday we spoke about this XSS, right? Cross-site scripting attacks, right? To prevent cross-site scripting attacks, so what developers do is like they will set a cookie from the server and mark it as HTTP only. Now the server can send the cookie and the browser can read it, but it cannot modify it. Okay, so when similar way, when the server creates a cookie and mark it as secure true, all these options they can set it from the server. We can see an example when we have class on Node.js. Okay, so when the server says it's secure, the cookie can be set only in a HTTPS website. Okay, so it cannot be set in a HTTP website. And there are other few options as well. We can ignore them for now. So this is cookies. Apart from that, there is something called local storage. So the local storage is slightly advanced version. It can store items which is like up to 5 MB, I believe. Okay, so you can add that as well. Storage size is equal to 5 MB. Okay. All right. So we have local storage, which can store 5 MB, but how do we store data in a local storage? So similar way, we can like set cookie, you have document.cookie, you have something called local storage.set item. So when you say set item username John Doe, I hit enter. Now we go to the application, local storage. Here, if I see at www.google.com, it should be somewhere here. Let's search for it. Username, yeah. Here we have our local storage item. Now, to get that item, you can say local storage dot get item, and you can just mention the key. To set the local storage, you need the key and value. So key to access it and value to store your value. And to access the stored local storage item, you can just do get item and you will get this value. Okay. So one thing with this local storage is like it is available across tabs. Even if I go and put this domain here, here, and I do local storage.get item, still I get John Doe. So I'll show a difference. So we have something called session storage as well. So now session storage behaves in the similar way. So I do session storage dot set item. You can do username in this. You can do chain to. I can set the session storage. Now session storage dot get item username. I say I get null. The reason is like when they say session, they're talking about the browser session, this browser window. So it will be available only within this browser session. So if I do get item now, and username, you get Jane Doe, but not here. But local storage, we can get it in multiple browser sessions because the URL is same. And until the URL is same, you can still get it. But session storage, you will get only here. Also, if I close this browser and reopen it, you will get the local storage. But if I close this browser, session storage will be gone. Because whenever we say session, you think of it like this particular browsing session, this particular tab. Okay. Once you close the tab, your session is gone. So you can think of like whatever use cases like the user's login should be separated for multiple tabs. If that is the use case, you can do that. And there are several other use cases for session storage. And for local storage, any small information you want to save, let's say you don't have a backend and you want to manage something in the front end itself, you can use local storage. But the problem is like if you go to a different browser or a different machine, you won't be able to access it since it is available only for this particular browser and this particular local machine. If you go to another machine or your friend's computer and go and access the same website, your local storage won't be there. That is why we call it as browser storage. All these things, cookies, local storage, and session storage, won't go to any server. It will get saved in the browser alone. That is the first basic thing you have to keep it in your mind. There are other methods like to delete. There is something called remove item in local storage. Similarly, remove item in session storage. And you want to clear all the local storage item, then you can do local storage.clear, all those stuff. Okay, so this particular example why I have added is like so this is a good example as well. If your website have a dark theme, you can and user has opted for it, you can save that as a local storage, and the next time when they come, you can fetch this local storage and then apply the theme. So here you are saving a JSON data. One thing with local storage is like it saves everything as a string. Now, when you want to convert that string back to JSON itself, if I get local storage dot preferences, we will get whatever. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you will get the string. You can see a single quotes, right? So what you need to do is like you need to do JSON dot parse. JSON dot parse will take the string, and if it is a valid, if there is a valid JSON inside the string, only if there is a valid JSON inside the string, it will convert it into JSON object. So now this is a JSON object, this is a string, but inside the string you have a valid JSON. You cannot just use JSON dot parse for a random or like this will parse it, but it will give you a single string or throw error. It won't. It didn't parse it because it is a invalid JSON. So it is not a valid JSON. Okay. Or I believe if it is a single string, oh, even if it is a single string, it's not passing. So you have to give an absolute valid JSON only here. So now instead of this, if I give a valid JSON, like let's say name to same John Doe. Okay. I think I'm missing something here. Not sure what it is. Okay, maybe what we can do, expected property name or, okay, what am I doing wrong when compared to this, in this case, theme colon dark. Let's copy this part alone. And then we wrap it inside. Okay, JSON should be in double quotes. That's why it was throwing error. Okay, we'll go back to that. And we put a single quote around it and then change this name to double quotes. JSON string should be inside double quote. Okay, now it works. That was a mistake. So I was trying to put the JSON string inside single quotes. That's why it was not working. Once I wrapped it with a single quote and then put it in a double quote, it worked. So the basic thing is like if you are storing JSON in local storage, first thing you need to, if you have a JSON object, you need to stringify JSON. You use JSON.stringify to do that. So this method is opposite to JSON.parse. You take a JSON object and then you stringify it. In this case, let's say it is same thing. Name John Doe. This will give me a JSON string. Now you can store it in local storage because local storage accepts only strings. Now, when you get it back from the local storage and use it in your JavaScript, because JavaScript to access this name, you need to convert it into a JSON object. So at that time, you need to use JSON.parse. So these are the two methods to stringify and then convert to JSON. Okay. So this is how you store and retrieve JSON objects from. This is very important because the homework I'm going to give you is you need to understand this before you can do the homework. Okay. So same goes for session storage. I have put a small example here, the difference between the local and session storage. So the lifetime is permanent until cleared. This is for the tab session only, session storage. Storage limit is 5 to 10 MB. Same thing. Everything is same, I believe. Same origin. Oh, okay. This is different because in all window tabs, same origin in the sense for the same URL. You can't set a local storage in one domain and access it in another domain. It is for that same domain. For session storage, the same origin applies as well as it is only for single tab. Okay. Data persistence, service, browser restart. The whole browser is restarted, the local storage is gone. But once you close the tab, session storage is gone. And yeah, both of them are from web storage API. Both of them won't be sent to the server. So there is one more thing called IndexedDB and cache storage. All these things are a little bit advanced. We can discuss about that later. So now, anyone has any doubt on this? I have told so many things. I'm expecting some questions here. So any doubts in why are we storing in browser? And any doubts with the cookies, local storage session, anything? You're good? Can you give a thumbs up if you're good? Awesome. Okay. Great. So based on this, what we are going to do is like you take the same JSON placeholder type equal to dos, and then you get user ID 1, user ID, and all those things. You get title and completed false. Now, so you take this to do list, render the title and completed false as a checkbox. Okay, so let's see. A to do very simple to do list, something like this. Okay, so if there is a true, you should show this checkbox. If there is a false, you should not show this checkbox. But when the user clicks the checkbox, you need to convert it into, if it is a false, you need to change it into true, and then you will store it in the local storage. Again, you need to retrieve it from the local storage. So what you should do here is like, instead of using this whole API itself, because this will give you only the get API, I believe. I don't think they will give you a post API, or they. Let's see. I believe they give a post API as well. Post. So when I say post API, they are allowing you to modify the to-dos. So if they are allowing you to modify the to-do whenever you are updating or unchecking or checking the checkbox, you send a post request to them so that it will be updated as well. So
Excuse me, sir.
yeah.
Fit is used to modify it, right?
Exactly. That's right. Yeah, I was wrong about that. Post is to create a new to-dos. Put is to modify it. That is right.
Okay.
That is right. And if they are allowing this put request on the to-dos, you can use that as well. Otherwise, what you can do is like, you can take the structure, create a empty array and store it in the, or you can have a initial data like so let's say you can copy this. What you can do is like, I can show you a simple example. So inside script.js, you can call it like const is equal to now what you can do is like, you can store it in local storage. So what should I do to store it in local storage? Can anyone tell me? First I should, what should I do to this JSON? I mean, this JavaScript object. Can I directly store it in local storage, like local storage dot set item to dos and to dos? Can I do this? Anyone? Arvind?
No, sir. First, we should render it,
Render it?
like stringify.
Stringify it. Correct. So if I don't stringify, it don't get stored. Anyways, it is not getting stored. Let's see what I am missing here. Am I loading the correct screen here? Yeah. But still, I'm not getting an error. And also, I'm not seeing my local storage as well. Why is that? Because I haven't added the script tag at all. Yeah. Script is was equal to script.js. Now, if I refresh, I get my to-dos, but you can see object, 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 object. So what JavaScript is trying to do, it's like it is trying to do a dot to string. So when you do dot to string on an object, it will return an object. So if I do dot to string on this, okay, dot string on this, or object dot to string. Yeah. So ideally, it will return object. So that is the default behavior of JavaScript. Okay. So that is why you see object. So instead, what you need to do is like you need to do JSON dot stringify, and then save it. If I refresh the page and go back to application to dos, you can see the to dos. Now, how do I retrieve these to dos? Anyone? Amelia?
We can use get item.
Okay, we can do local storage dot get item. So what will I get? Will I get a string or a object or whatever?
String, I guess. We stringified it now.
Right. Okay. So we call it as so we already called it as to do. So instead, what we can call it as local to dos. Okay. And we console.log this local to dos. What do we see here? We see a string here. How do we know it is a string? Let's do a type of. So when I do type of, so it clearly says it is a string. So I want a JSON object to access this because I cannot do dot for each on a string. Since it is a string, I cannot do dot for each and all. I want to convert this to a JSON. What should I do now? You already seen this. Anyone? Pawan? We have seen two methods. One is JSON.stringify, another one is JSON dot.
Yes, Lord. You don't know me.
Okay. So these are the two important methods you need to remember. So if you get the array here. So now you have stored it as a string and retrieved it as a JSON object. You took a JSON object, converted into string, stored it, and then retrieved it and converted again to JSON. Now what you can do is like you can do the same thing with a normal array. Okay. So now you know this. So take this thing as a initial item. So every time user is typing in the text box and adding a to do, you need to add an object to this array. How do you add a new object to the array? I believe you have seen array manipulation methods as well. So now you have a to-dos object, right? So we call it changes to a lit, and then we call this local, to-dos. Okay, now I want to insert a new item to this array. What should I do? So there is something called array.push. So since this is array, you will get this array.push, and inside this you can push a similar item like this. So in this case, ID is going to be 5 because we are incrementing in title, learn.js, completed false, and now you console.log the local to those. If I refresh it, you get 5 items and learn.js has added it. So this is how you add a new item to the list. Similarly, if you are going to modify it, so you need to go through each and every item, find which item they are modifying, and then update it. So what I'm saying here is find. So whenever they click the checkbox, you know which item they have clicked. So based on that, you need to get the ID of that item. Okay, in this case, we want to find an item with ID. So I say find, and then inside the find, you get each to do. So inside each to do, you can return to do dot ID equal to 2. Okay. Now const to do to edit. So this is the to do item we are going to edit. So we can think about editing it later. But if I put to do dot edit here, I mean to do to edit here, you can see we have found this. How did you find this? You have clearly said I want to find a single to do item in this list which has a ID of 2. That's how you have console log this. Okay. Now, so based on this, you need to modify it. So now you modify this to do item and then you can replace it. That is one way to do, or what you can do is you can use something called filter. So copy the same thing. So you can call this updated to do's. Instead of find, you can use filter, where you can use filter and then get it as well. Like now you got this filtered item. In the same thing, you will get it an array. But what you can do here is like, so instead of doing this, you can do this one as well. Like, you can do to do's dot for each. So you are looping through all these to do's, and then you find that to do, and then you can modify it like for each to do item. You get the to do, and you if to do dot ID equal to 2. Now what you're going to do is like in this case, if it is false, the completed property is going to be true. Okay, you have modified this. Now if you console log to do's, where is this item 2? You can see completed is true, but initially you can see completed is false. Or which one? Yeah, this completed is false. So this is how your. So one difference between this find or filter, or there is something called map as well. It's like you modify the item, but you return a new item. But in case of for each, you are changing the already existing item itself. So that is why I'm asking you to use for each, because you have one single list, you keep on modifying that list. So that's why you can use for each as well. So looping through each to do item, and then once you find the to do item which you want to modify, then you find it and modify it, and then it will be modified in the original source itself. Okay. Any doubt in this? So this is how you are going to do your homework. You need to have a text box that allows the user to enter the to-dos, and you have a list that displays the existing to-dos for each to-do item. We'll see that with the image itself. Okay. Open image in new tab is open. Yeah, it should look something like this. Okay, you have a text box, and for each to do, if it is false, you don't display this checkbox as checked. If it is checked, you strike through it. And this is for delete to do. Once you click this cross, you delete the to do. So you have to learn map, filter, find, for each, and all these methods. So for the next week, do some homework, learn about these methods. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the Discord channel. We can get it to a quick call as well someday. Learn about these methods. So the step is something like that. You display the list of to-dos, and you display the checkbox is checked or not checked based on the true or false. The completed value might be true or false. You can see here, right? If the completed is false, it is not checked. If the completed is true, it is checked. The title should be displayed here, and you put a cross icon as well as here. Whenever I click the cross icon, you remove it from this list. For that, you can use filter as well. So filter behaves like I said. If you use filter, it will return a new array. So if you are using filter, then you need to take that new array and then display it here. So which will be a little bit harder for you. Instead, what you can do is like you can use this same for each, and then you can plan to delete an object from it. Like you can use delete this to do from it. So that is also possible. Okay. So anything you can explore it and do that, but you got the exercise. This is a little bit harder than other exercises what you have did, but try this. And one more thing, bonus points if you can use some external API that supports put, post, and delete, so that you can integrate the API layer as well, so that you get the get API will be used to get these data, and then in that case you don't have anything to store it in the local storage, but still try to store and retrieve it from the local storage. That is totally fine if you can do it via API. And you can use post, delete, and put to create, update, and delete the to-dos as well. Okay. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.